Hey guys, it's Nina. So today I would like to talk about how to start your path of recovery and maybe even give you some tips of my experiences and what helped me personally. Please keep in mind that obviously I'm not a professional. I'm still at the very beginning of my own recovery and I can't really give you any professional advice, and so please do seek a therapist or any other kind of certified person to aid you with your recovery. But yeah, if you just want to hear some advice of a person that is going through recovery herself, then do watch this video, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So the very first and most important thing is to understand the need of recovery. And that's probably the most important one, because if you don't understand that you need to change and that you do need to start on recovery, then all the other steps become kind of, well, they won't work. Simple as that. So you need to understand the urgency to change. And what you can do is you can search on the internet how dangerous it is to actually be underweight for a longer period of time. And maybe that kind of will shock you how dangerous it actually is, because I researched that a lot and it really shocked me, to say the least. I also found that watching YouTube videos really helps, as it kind of gives you a sort of motivation and you see how other people approach recovery, and it might give you some ideas on what you could do. So yeah, that really helped me, and I would definitely recommend doing that if you're not doing that already. So yeah, watching YouTube videos, informing yourself about the dangers of being underweight, and finding a motivation, a personal motivation for you, such as, well, for me, I want to go to university, as I mentioned a couple of times before, so I know that I need to be physically fit and also mentally fit in order to accomplish that. And so yeah, that's definitely my motivation, and I'm really sure that most of you will be able to find a motivation as well. So yeah, those are some of the most important things I find. And then another really important thing is that you probably shouldn't do this alone. I mean, what I'm trying to say here is that you should probably seek professional help, no matter how bad or not bad of a case you are, simply because it's really hard to recover all on your own. I mean, I suppose it's possible, but it's definitely more secure if you do it with help of a professional, such as a psychotherapist, or even a nutritionist. However, it's not only important that you work together with a therapist, it's also important that you go to a doctor and do some physical checkups, as it could be very likely that you're deficient in certain areas, as you might not have gotten sufficient nutrition from your diet in the past couple of, I don't know, months, years even. So yeah, you should definitely go seek a doctor and do some blood tests and some other kind of tests to make sure that you're not deficient. And if you should be, then the doctor will prescribe you some supplements, or I don't know. But yeah, that's something I would definitely recommend as well. So first, seek a therapist or a nutritionist, or even both, and then also go to your doctor and do some checkups. And still, for step number one, it's really important that you find out what you're actually afraid of, as most people with an eating disorder don't want to recover, as they're afraid of, I don't know, not being attractive anymore for their partner, or there are just so many reasons. And I'm sure that there are reasons for you too, and I think it's very important that you sit down and think about what you're actually afraid of. And then once you've figured these reasons out, you can really think about whether they're actually legitimate reasons, or maybe they're just thoughts that you have without really a good reason. So once you've worked out that your fears are probably not very legitimate, you will realize that recovery is probably the best path to choose. And so if you've gotten through all these small little steps, then I'm sure it'll make your recovery a lot easier, as recovery really starts in your head. What I mean by that is, once you're convinced that it's just the best thing for you, it will be easier to actually proceed. Alright, so step number 2 is to actually get a meal plan, either by a professional, which I would suggest, or you can look up meal plans online for anorexia recovery. And this is an opportunity for you to make it fun. Unlike in a clinic, you do have a little bit of choice about the foods that you eat. So you can really pick and choose whatever you like. You can get your favorite kind of junk foods, even though I would still recommend to try to gain weight healthily, but obviously you can have some treats now and then. So yeah, you can really make it fun and just use it as an opportunity to splurge a little bit, I guess. So yeah, step number 2, get a meal plan and make it fun. Alright, so step number 3 would be to challenge yourself. I'm pretty sure, well, I'm almost 100% sure that there are certain foods that you're afraid of, the so-called fear foods. And so every now and then, maybe let's say like once a day, or I don't know, you can start small, maybe like once a week or so. Try to challenge yourself with these kind of foods, and maybe incorporate one of these into your diet. So yeah, challenge yourself with eating these fear foods every now and then, and also realize that they won't do anything to your body. I'm pretty sure you're not eating certain foods because you think that they'll make you fat, or that you will gain weight overnight, or anything crazy like that. I've been there, so I know exactly how you feel, but once you start incorporating some of these foods into your diet, then you will actually notice that they don't do anything to your body. Seriously, you won't gain weight right away, and for a matter of fact, it's much harder to gain weight than you might think. When I started my recovery, it took a good 2 to 3 weeks to actually see a change on the scale, even though I had seriously packed it in, because for my first week of recovery, I only ate junk food. Seriously, I only ate junk food, which I wouldn't recommend, by the way, but I mean, you could do it because why not? But yeah, so that's what I did. But for a good 2 to 3 weeks, no change on the scale, even though I had weighed myself every single day, which, by the way, another thing I would not recommend. But yeah, so once you do that, and once you incorporate some of these foods, you will really realize that they're not the enemy, and that they will not make you gain weight right away. So you can really indulge once in a while without feeling guilty. And yeah, you can also challenge yourself by going out to eat with friends. And so yeah, going out with friends I find is kind of difficult at times, because you can't have everything. If you have an eating disorder, you think that I don't know, like fast food places are really hard to eat at, And so another challenge would be to actually accept these invites and go to fast food places. Once you do that, and once you realize that it's actually fun and you miss your friends and going out with your friends, I know how hard it is. Trust me, yeah, it'll change your social life a lot, trust me. So number 4 is to keep track of your progress, no matter how small. That is really important to keep you motivated and keep you going, as you can see what kind of things you've already achieved. And so yeah, I would really recommend doing that, maybe in a form of a journal or I don't know, a journal I think is cool. Or you could even make YouTube videos like I started doing. And so yeah, I think keeping track of your progress is really important, and I do it as well and find it really helpful. So for example, what it could look like is if you ate a snack or a fear food, then you can write that down, and you can also write down how you felt doing it, and if you gained weight from that. And so yeah, or even things like I stopped counting calories as a success, or I gained a pound, or I don't know, I went out with friends to eat for the first time. So those are things that you can write down in a journal, keep track of, and for me it really motivates me, and I think that it could possibly motivate you too. So number 5 is to reap the rewards of your recovery, and by that I mean after a couple of weeks you will find that you will have more energy, or maybe that your hair won't fall out as much, or maybe that you've gotten nicer nails or nicer skin, or maybe even your social life will have improved, and also your family life, because your social and family life do also really get affected by your eating disorder. And so yeah, once you see like these small little changes, it will really motivate you, I find. So yeah. Oh, and also finding out how long it takes for your body to actually change is really positive in my opinion, because like you can adapt better, because you used to think that it happens overnight, right? But once you find out that it doesn't, then I feel like it's just such a relief, and it just goes so much smoother. It's just a lot less scary, I find. So obviously I'm still at the beginning of recovery as well, and I do not feel like I'm an expert by far. This is just based on my experiences, and yeah, nothing really more than that. These are really just my 2 cents on this. So yeah, but a couple of things that I would not recommend is do not track your calories, and do not track your macros either. I know this might seem tempting, as you will probably think that you will have to track your calories even if you want to gain weight, because you want to make sure that you've gotten enough, right? But no, this just most of the times goes into the wrong direction, and you want to start to be more flexible with what you eat, and also with the amounts that you eat. So I would really try hard not to count calories, and not to read calorie labels and macro labels, and you know, all of that. You can start doing that once you're fully recovered, but until then, just try not to do it. And also try not to weigh yourself too often. So I would not recommend to weigh yourself every day or even every other day. I would say about once or twice a week is optimal, as obviously you want to see whether you've gained a couple of pounds. But I find that if you weigh yourself too often, it can kind of become obsessive, as probably some of you out there have been obsessed with weighing yourself, and so you also want to try to get away from that and not be dependent on what the scale says. So yeah, I would really recommend not to weigh yourself too often during recovery. And yeah, also maybe try to find a balance between healthy and unhealthy foods, simply because it is very likely that your body is deficient in certain nutrients due to, well, your eating disorder. And so it's really important that you start a balanced diet again, just so your body is physically healthy. However, you also want to be more flexible, as I've already said, with what you eat. And so obviously you should also have some unhealthy foods such as junk food or snacks. It's really important not to deprive yourself of anything, but also to see that you do also eat healthy foods in order to cover all your nutritional needs. And so yeah, that's what I would recommend, but I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a professional, so I mean, this is just what I think. However, it is really easy to slip into orthorexia while in recovery. This is something really personal to me, because I really struggle with eating unhealthy food, and I find it really hard to eat things that I do not consider to be healthy. And so yeah, I mean, I can't really say a lot about that. I mean, ideally you should eat both healthy and unhealthy foods, but yeah, I myself do really struggle with that, and so I don't think I'm the best example, but yeah. Then lastly, understand that there are ups and downs in recovery, and it's by far nowhere near a linear process. So you will have probably a lot of success, but also very likely some regress, and that's just something you need to be aware of in the beginning of your recovery. But that's fine, you know? I mean, you can take however much time with recovery that you need. Maybe not if you're really dangerously underweight and it's a real danger to your health. But then again, I'm sure that you're probably under supervision of a therapist, and maybe even like an institution, like a clinical institution, so they will probably take care of you. But yeah, just know that there are ups and downs, and that it's okay, and don't let the downs demotivate you. Just do better the next time and have your goal in mind. And once you do that, I promise that you'll be successful in your recovery. So yeah, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any kind of feedback, you can leave it below in the comment section, and I would be really happy to read your comments, and maybe also give it a thumbs up, and if you like, even subscribe to my channel. And yeah, I would be happy to see you in my next video. Bye!